Welcome back to the today's class on advanced switchgear. Today we are going to see about the duties of a circuit breaker. In different circumstances, circuit breaker may be subjected to widely varying stresses. Circuit breaker current varies from few amperes due to no load current of a transformer up to the heaviest short circuit current, which may amount to 100 kiloamperes. When a circuit breaker is concerned, the circuit breaker should able to interrupt a no load current as well as a full load current. Here the no load current refers to the magnetizing current of a transformer, whereas the fullest current or the heaviest current represents the short circuit current of the transformer, which may have a value up to hundreds of kiloamperes. Circuit impedance itself may change from a period of 10 power minus 4 to 10 power minus 3 seconds because open-ended lines and cables connected to bus bar. We know lot of complex circuits are connected to the power system. Since these power systems have lot of open-ended cables which are just flowing for a long distance, but at the end of the line there will be no device will be connected, or sometimes the device may be connected or it may be left unconnected. So such type of long-ended lines creates impedance, which these kind of impedance will change for a period of 10 power minus 2 to 10 power minus 3 seconds. So this impedance parameters will have a huge impact on the power system, and this impact when creating a short circuit or a fault, then this impact will be switched to the circuit breaker duty. This affects breaker behavior. Initially, it will be like resistances, but later like capacitances. So, these long transmission lines which are unloaded will behave like a resistance for a shorter while, and after that this long resistance line will behave as a capacitance line, because since these two lines are parallel in nature, they will possess capacitance, face to face capacitance. So the breaker behavior will change for different parameters such as resistance and capacitance. Whereas load currents are more or less depends on ohmic nature of the circuit conditions. Since we know the long transmission lines which are having are made up of copper, these copper lines will have I square loss. So these I square loss are represented as ohmic nature of the material, because the transmission lines which are flowing for a long distance will be having a inductance in nature, and this inductive will create a inductive short circuit current when the lines are unloaded. And we know all the transformers, generators, transmission lines, and everything we are using are made up of inductance, made up of coils. So these inductance creates a short circuit current which will be also inductive in nature, whereas only unloaded lines are capacitive in nature. Circuit breakers not only must interrupt but also must close the circuit. So, on taking a circuit breaker, it needs to turn on and also turn off. So, both the duties are present for the circuit breaker. If circuit breaker closes on a short circuit, then voltage breakdown, which bridges contact gap before contact touches, produces a high R current. Okay, when a short circuit occurs, then the voltage will break down. The contacts, in between the contacts, the voltage breakdown will occur, and this will create a heavy arc in between the contacts of the circuit breaker. This thing we already know. Okay, This will melt and weld contacts, which is not desirable since circuit breaker should be able to open again. We know a metal arc is formed. This arc is capable of melt the contacts of the circuit breaker. So this melting of contacts on recooling makes the two contacts to get welded. So this is not desirable because after a opening time, the after a closing time, the circuit breaker should able to open. If the metals of the contacts are welded, then this is not possible because opening is not possible. The two contacts are welded by the metal arc. So this undesirable operation should not occur anytime. Automatic reclosing is much required because usually fault occurs are temporary in nature. We know that lot of faults which are occurring in a power system are temporary in nature because the for example, we can say birds which are sitting on the transmission line, when touching the two opposite faces, then it will create a fault. And at the instant of fault, the bird will die and it will fall to the ground. At once the fault is cleared. Okay, so this is a temporary in nature. This fault is temporary in nature. So lot of faults, such as a tree, if a wind was there, the tree leaves may touch the cable or wire, and afterwards the wind will stop, then the tea leaf will go away. So this is also a temporary fault. So the circuit breaker should able to reclose or it able to make a temporary fault, able to switch on after a temporary fault. So in lot of cases there will be automatic reclosing. So if you see for a 1 minute, the after 1 minute of fault occurring time, the circuit breaker will tries to switch on the circuit automatically. So if it fails to switch on the circuit automatically after 1 minute, then only the fault is permanent. Otherwise, all the faults which are present in the power system are known as temporary faults. They will come and go within seconds. About 20% of short circuit persist, however, and immediately after closing circuit breaker again as to interrupt the short circuit current just made. Okay, the in 100% of short circuit faults, only 20% of short circuit faults will persist in the power system. Others are temporary in nature. They will be okay after a few seconds or after a few minutes. Okay, so automatic reclosing of circuit breaker is very much needed so that the human intervention is minimized. This is a very severe duty, especially if there are extreme high currents requiring heavy contacts to be accelerated and decelerated. Okay, if you say automatic reclosing, then the contacts present in the circuit breaker should be accelerated or decelerated to be turn on or turn off. During turn on process, the contacts should become closer in a and make to touch each other. If it is a turn off process, the two contacts should be separated. So this acceleration and deceleration depends on the fault location and the type of fault. If it is a temporary fault, you can see the the automatic reclosing or circuit breaker will try to make the contacts. If it is a permanent fault, then when you try to make the contacts at the same time, you need to separate the contacts at the same speed. So acceleration and deceleration of the contacts is a very important nature, and this depends on the weight of the contacts. In both directions within hundreds of seconds without bouncing would result in contact welding and wear. So, while doing such acceleration and deceleration, the contacts should not bounce to each other. If a bouncing happens, at once a welding process will occur or wear of contacts will occur because a large amount of heat will be produced during arcing phase. So, in this type, when the contacts are made to bounce to each other, then the welding of contacts may occur and similarly the wearing of contacts will be very high. The main duties which a circuit breaker has to perform in addition to satisfy the rated braking capacities, rated making capacities and braking capacities are as follows. Okay, irrespective of these three duties which are rated braking capacity, rated making capacity and braking capacity, braking times, the circuit breaker has some more additional duties which are short circuit interruption, interruption of small inductor currents, capacitive switching, asynchronous switching, and interruption of short line fault. Okay, in here we will see about these five main topics where the capacitor duty is extended to these five also. First, we will see on short circuit interruption. The magnitude and shape of transient error recovery voltage, which is known as TRV. Transient error recovery voltage is known as TRV. Waveform is shown in the figure. Okay, you can see this is a previous circuit diagram of a power system. You can see a generator and inductance and capacitance of the system are lumped together. We all know the capacitance is inserted in parallel and inductance is inserted in series with the generator. You can see a fault is occurring in a transmission line. It is a short circuit fault. This fault occurs after the circuit breaker. And you can see the waveforms of the voltage. This is the transient recovery voltage TRV waveform, which has a magnitude of E into root 2. So this is the RMS value of the transient recovery voltage. The short circuit current depends upon voltage E and series reactance X. So the current which is flowing to the short circuit depends on this reactance X and depends on the generator voltage. So these two parameters makes the short circuit current. Or after arc extinguishes at natural current 0 of 50 Hz waveform. Okay, after the arc is extinguished, circuit recovers and restriking transient voltage or transient error recovery voltage TRV is impressed across the switches. Okay, when the arc is interrupted at natural current 0, at once the transient error recovery voltage which will superimposed on the normal power frequency voltage. You can see the transient recovery voltage which is oscillating in nature is superimposed on the normal power frequency voltage. The next one is interruption of small inductor currents. Magnetizing current of a transformer is quite small. Its interruption by circuit breaker is not a problem. Suppression of current before natural zero give rise to dangerous over voltages up to 3 per unit. Here you can see a generator and the inductance and capacitance of the power system which are lumped together. After this you are having a circuit breaker. After here the long transmission line is mentioned. Here in the long transmission line you can see a inductance and capacitance which are present in the long transmission line and in the end of the power system. So here we are going to see what will happen when this inductive current is interrupted by the circuit breaker. Protective devices such as resistors parallel to circuit breakers through which transformer energy can be discharged safely without causing excessive overvoltage. Okay, when we know that these magnetizing currents which are present in the transformers and in inductive materials will have a magnetizing current. When these magnetizing current are interrupted or when these currents are in phase with the voltage which is going to be interrupted, then this magnetizing current makes a very big problem. This problem is it creates a very dangerous high voltage and this voltage will be maximum have a value of 3 per unit, which will be 3 times the peak value of the system. So this peak value, 3 times the peak value, creates a very dangerous over voltage. So this over voltage should also be interrupted by the circuit breaker. So this is the important duty also. When interrupting such over voltages, you can see the resistance switching is used in the circuit breakers. We have seen already resistance switching. So resistance switching can be used to interrupt the small inductor current. This small inductor current, where this current is starting from. This small inductor current starts from the power transformers which are present in the power station or the generating stations itself. Voltage on inductance subsequently reappears and is often smaller than voltage if no reignition has occurred. Okay, you can see there are two voltages. One is the power frequency voltage and other one is the inductance voltage, which is 3 times the maximum of the power frequency voltage. And this here you can see the RMS value of the current E into root 2, which is the RMS value of the voltage which is flowing in the which is present in the circuit breaker contacts. So while interrupting a small inductor current, we need to use resistance switching. Then only we can clear the dangerous event which should occur. Then only we can clear the dangerous over voltage which rises up to 3 per unit. Next one is capacitive switching. Capacitive switching arises when a long and loaded line is opened. Due to Ferranti effects, the unloaded line carries a capacitive charging current represented by sinusoidal curve in the figure. Okay, we all know Ferranti effects. In Ferranti effects, if a transmission line is present at the start of the transmission line or nearer to the source of the transmission line, the voltage when we measured over there, it will be 5 volt. On the end of the transmission line, it will be 10 volt. Ferranti effect says that the voltage in a transmission line will be greater at the receiving end due to the capacitance effect of the transmission line. Okay, you can see this circuit. This is the generator and this is the inductance present in the generator and the power system also. Similarly, this is the circuit breaker and it is a very long transmission line represented as an arrow over here. So this long transmission line will have a very big capacitance and this capacitance will makes the current to be charged. So the capacitive charging currents are always present in a long transmission line and this capacitive charging currents is helpful. This capacitive charging currents need to be interrupted by the circuit breaker. So on seeing the second figure, you can see the graph of the capacitive charging line as well as the generator voltage between Vg and phase to earth. And this one, this line shows the line capacitive current before interruption. And this dashed line gives you generator voltage Vg between phase and earth. And this one is the transmission line voltage which represented to earth. We see this figure in a brief. Okay. Let the line to be opened at an instant L when line capacitance current is 0 and generator voltage Vg is maximum. Its value is Vgm. Okay, you can see at this point L, the capacitive current is 0. On the same time, the system voltage, which is Vg, is maximum and it is represented as Vgm. Okay. Generator end of line continues its normal sinusoidal variation, that is, end P goes to 0 as represented by point B. You can see in this figure the circuit breaker has two ends. One is P end and other one is Q end. These two are the contacts of the circuit breaker. At this, if you take this P end, If you take this P end, at position B or the point B, you can see the voltage across the end P is 0. Voltage VGM appears across point P and Q. After that, voltage of point P becomes negative. In the next phase, after the point B, the voltage present in the point P, where in the circuit breaker point B, starts to go towards the negative direction. In the first phase, at the instant of initiation of arc or cutting of the circuit, you can see the VGM voltage is maximum and is represented in positive value. After the position B, you can see the VGM starts to move towards the negative value. At point C, potential of point P becomes negative maximum, which causes a voltage of 2 VGM between points P and Q. You can see at this point P, the normal generator voltage is maximum and it is in negative in value. On the same time, the capacitive charging currents which are present over here is also present at its reverse peak. So we will having a complete value which is represented as 2 into VGM because there are two peaks. So the maximum capacitance value will be 2 VGM between P and Q. This voltage may be sufficient to strike an arc across the breaker gap as represented at instant 2. You can see at the instant 2, this 2 VGM, this 2 VGM amount of voltage which will appear across the breaker gap will cause arc to restrike because the circuit breaker can capable of making interruption of VGM voltage. So since there are two VGM, the voltage is 2 into VGM, then there will be a very high voltage and this high voltage causes the breaker to initiate another one arc. At same time, capacitance discharge through arc, the peak value of initial transient will be twice the voltage at that instant, that is minus 4 VGM. So if this peak value or the initial transient is twice, because you can see due to Ferranti effect, the capacitive charging currents are present in the long transmission line. So this 2 VGM gets multiplied into another 2 VGM due to this capacitive charging currents, and this becomes twice the voltage at the instant of minus 4 VGM. So this dangerous high voltage can easily break down into an arc. It will causes the transmission voltage to swing from plus VGM minus 4 VGM, that will be equivalent to minus 3 VGM. So the net voltage on the line will be equal to minus 3 VGM. The restriking arc current goes soon to zero value because the natural frequency of voltage is entering into the zero phase. So the P value will become zero because the generator voltage is zero because sinusoidal waveform will passes zero at a point. So at this point the P voltage will also become zero. After half a cycle further, the generator voltage goes towards VGM or potential between points P and Q reaches to plus 4 VGM. Okay, after the cycle completed, the after the crossing of zero occurs, you can see the generator voltage goes to its positive peak. So at this positive peak, it will reaches up to plus 4 VGM. So at instant 3, the circuit breaker gap may again break down and transient voltage of 8 VGM may appear, which makes the line to be charged at potential of 5 VGM above earth potential. So at this point, the two potentials, which is the system voltage and also the capacitive charging current due to Ferranti effects, creates a potential of about 8 VGM in the line, so that the line voltage will make up to plus 5 VGM above the earth potential. Theoretically, the rise of potential to 7 VGM, 9 VGM, etc. will continue indefinitely, but they are limited due to corona loss and leakages. So this is a continuous process and it will repeats on multiplying. So this multiplication process indefinitely continues, but there is a stopping phenomena because of corona loss and leakages present in the power system. This capacitive charging currents will discharge after a value of 9 VGM. Although these extreme conditions caused due to capacitive current breaking are improbable and rare, and they do sometimes occur, causing serious damages. So this type of multiplying factors in a capacitive current breaking is very extreme condition, and this will cause a serious damage in the circuit breaker while interrupting a capacitive switching current. The cause of setting up of this type of voltage transient is inability of circuit breaker is to provide adequate dielectric strength in gap after current interruption. So you can see the multiplying process of current. So this can be stopped only if the circuit breaker dielectric strength will regain at a faster rate, so that the gap's dielectric strength is very high. Circuit breaker employed for a particular application should be capable of performing opening and closing operation without getting damaged due to overvoltage within specific limits. So the circuit breakers which are designed should be able to perform this capacitive switching for a short period of time without damaging, and this capacitive switching has some limits. When this limits exceeds, the circuit breaker get damaged. So capacitor switching, to make capacitor switching, some circuit breakers are used. Such circuit breakers are Wacom circuit breaker, SF6 circuit breaker, and air blast circuit breakers are suitable for capacitor current interruption duties. Asynchronous switching. Phase positions may occur when the breaker recloses after a fairly long pause, during which generator G1 and G2 may fall out of synchronous. You can see this is a very long transmission line or a power grid. There are two generating stations G1 and G2. Similarly, the two generating stations have two different voltages V1 and V2, which are connected to a long grid. So in a long grid, we will be having inductance and capacitance for two systems which are shown in the figure. You can see a circuit breaker is used to join these two power grids. So during such a condition, when there is a long time of pause in interval, so the generator G1 and G2 will make asynchronous, become fall out of synchronism. When switch opens, the peak value of TRV is determined by sum of V1 and V2 when approaches 2 times the short circuit or terminal fault interruption. So when asynchronous switching is made, the total value will be determined by the value of voltage produced by the generator 1 and also the value of voltage produced by the generator 2. When these two values are added, then it will be like a short circuit current or a short circuit voltage. It will also be like a terminal fault interruption process. The recovery voltage has a maximum value when two voltages are in phase opposition, that is 180-degree cut off phase, and is given by root 2 V1 plus V2. So on seeing this in a graph, you can see the two generator voltage goes on swinging and it will not be damped. So this voltage will rise up to root 2 into V1 plus V2. The two generator voltage will be added up and it will be multiplied with root 2. Interruption of short line fault. Interruption of short line fault is shown in the below figure. Here in the figure you can see this is a generator and this is the two inductance and capacitance which are present in the transmission line and also in the power system. So after this power system started, there is a long transmission line. In this transmission line, the fault occurs near the generating station itself. So only it is called as short line fault. The fault occurs in between a distance of few kilometers to a few tens of kilometers from circuit breaker are called short line or kilometric fault. Such faults are characterized by high frequencies of restriking voltage of 10 kHz to 100 kHz, which depends upon line length and fault location. Thank you.